It's Mattress Firm's semi-annual sale. Right now, save up to $400 on our top-rated brands, like a Sealy Queen mattress that's now $399.99. Plus, take home a free adjustable base when you spend $699. At Mattress Firm, we make it easy to find the right bed for you. So hurry and visit mattressfirm.com or a store near you to save today. Your budget stretches further at Mattress Firm. Offer valid with qualifying purchase. Restrictions apply. Valid at participating locations only. For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/sale.
No radio? No problem. Stream us live on Sauga960am.ca. You are listening to New Theory Radio.
Welcome to another edition of New Theory Radio, here live on Newstalk, Sauga 960 AM. My name is Nav Nanwa. I am your host, and this is the show where we theorize on all things current affairs, pop culture, and everyday life. And today's show is brought to you by terrific multi-service wipes. You can get them now at your local Dollarama. I'm kidding, they're not sponsoring the show. But yes, today should be a very interesting episode of New Theory Radio. It might be one of our last live episodes of New Theory Radio for the time being. Reason being is obviously there's a lot going on with COVID-19 and the spread of the coronavirus. New news is coming out every single day. And yeah, it's really around taking the right precaution and making sure that you're safe and making sure that you are practicing things like social distancing and a whole bunch of other different precautions. And you know, we here at New Theory Radio are also taking our precautions. So again, just to be on the safe side, this will be sort of one of our last live episodes, but we will be releasing new content each and every week, so never fear. Also, I'm usually joined in the studio by Colorblind Photography _ or aka my brother Ameek Nanwa, but I did tell him to stay at home. I do have two parents at home that are in their 60s. My dad and my mom both have different health histories, and just to play it safe, I told him to not come through in the studio. So his presence is definitely missed here today. But shouts to Amit. You're probably listening to this and you're probably wishing you were in the studio with us, but safety does come first. But it's been a crazy week indeed. And normally when it comes to these shows, we like to theorize on all things current affairs, pop culture, and everyday life. But because everyone is affected by what's going on right now when it comes to COVID-19, we're just going to really just talk about some of the key things that are surrounding a lot of what's being taken place when you think about social distancing, which I mentioned earlier, when you think about being safe when it comes to COVID-19, when it comes to people's theories around how long this is actually going to last for, and we can probably get into flattening the curve as well and just some more details around that, as well as a lot of the panic buying that's been taking place. And joining me to talk about this in further detail, I have some amazing individuals that are going to be joining me that are risking their lives to be in studio with me, and I'm hoping all of us are healthy and safe, and we can just get right into it because I feel like everyone's just ready to go. But sitting in front of me first is somebody who is the host of Big Talk each and every week here on Sauga 960 AM. Also comes from a health background. Do the listeners know that or no?
They do. I think now they do. You just let them know. So
I probably just ruined your day job.
No, it's okay. That's fine.
It is our good friend Ameek Singh. He's here.
What's up, guys? What's going on?
Ameek, thanks so much for joining us, man.
No worries.
A crazy week. You also want to talk the Jay Electronica album, which we'll talk about later.
That was your bait to get me in here. That was your bait to get me in here. I'm kidding. No, it's fine. We could talk COVID.
That was actually the reason why Ameek broke social distancing with him and with me and him, is he wanted to talk the Jay Electronica album. But I also want him to chime in on COVID, so we'll definitely get into that. And then joining me in studio are two members of one of my favorite podcasts that's currly
the best podcast, I think, out of Peel region right now.
Yeah,
the best.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm about to say that.
Right? The best.
The only one. I have no stranger to New Theory Radio, no stranger to just a lot of what we do here in the community. It is actually from the people of the community, aka the Yelling Degenerates. I have Sachin, who's back in studio. Sachin, welcome back.
Thanks, glad to be here. It got me out of the house, which is good.
Yeah, you were telling me that. And you're looking pretty good for someone that's been self-isolating for most of your life.
Yeah, that's all. I've been practicing this isolation for a long time, and it's actually not that bad.
And it's somebody who just came back from Asia. That's in studio. It is somebody that I wanted you on the show for a long time, Darshan. I'm very honored that you're joining us. So it is Darshan himself from the Yelling Degenerates. You have been tested, right?
I've been tested
on the air
in many
really,
ways.
Okay.
Patience gets tested, emotionally tested. No, but I feel like I should have just stayed in Asia. It feels like they got things under control much better than they are out here.
Oh man, things are crazy, guys. And again, I don't really have a set sort of schedule or itinerary for today's show, but I do want to kind of get into your overall thoughts. And Darshan, we'll begin with you.
Just going back to flattening the curve is also something Sachin's been trying to do for a long time.
Oh, hey-o.
He's talking about my stomach.
Is he?
I first thought it was a new protest against the big kapows on Instagram. I thought maybe we were reversing course.
Oh man. Yeah, flattening curve can have many different meanings. I shudder to look at that hashtag and see what pops up. But yeah,
it's honestly like when this first started happening, I'd say I started paying attention to it in January on Reddit.
Yeah,
mostly through Reddit, right?
I found it on SixBuzz.
Really?
And the funny thing is, I remember SixBuzz having one of their memes saying, "Oh, some crazy sickness bigger than SARS is going to hit North America in a few months." And I remember thinking, "Okay, this is just SixBuzz being SixBuzz."
Yeah.
Fast forward, everything's shut down. Like,
yeah,
SixBuzz was right.
No, but it went from like, yeah, it's okay, everything's normal, and then some people were saying it's just the flu, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. I do use that line to piss people off, but it went from being normal to within a week, all of a sudden it's like everything is, like you said, shut down.
Yeah.
Or like, and there's some people out there that are really scared, and I encourage people to be informed about it. Don't be scared about it. Like, take precautions, be informed, but there's no point being scared.
Yeah,
that's not going to get you anywhere.
That's right. That's right. And I think that's what WHO is also saying, government of Canada is also saying, and that's something we have to keep in mind. A lot of people that are going to grocery stores right now, if you're going to get essentials, that's okay. If you're hoarding stuff, I don't think that's a great move, because everybody needs things right now. If you're stockpiling stuff and selling on Amazon, Kijiji, please stop. Like, there's other ways to level up in life. This is not one of those moments in life.
Yeah, this is like, in order to do that, I don't know what kind of human you have to be to profit off a situation like this, but
you're just a capitalist. You know what? People are getting mad at these guys for doing it, but
it's okay
the
when big
pharmaceuticals been doing it forever.
Yeah.
Here we go. Shots fired.
No, well, legitimately, you're right, because that's how big companies make their money. Is they'll buy as much product as they can to make it cheap overall, and then sell it for more. So that's exactly what these people are doing.
It's all about a margin game. Right?
It's actually, I think it is illegal in Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Profiteering.
Well, Kijiji and Craigslist and all those places said they won't allow you to advertise on there.
They're starting to ban people.
I had a pair of Lysol, like a canister of Lysol wipes. Not these beautiful, terrific ones, but
we do have Lysol spray. It's not like,
we do.
Why is he doing this?
No, I'm not.
It's also body spray.
But I had a canister of Lysol wipes in my cup holder, and my wife actually today, when we went out briefly, she's like, "You should probably hide that in case somebody tries to break into
her car." No, hey, you never know, man.
Serious. Okay, again, you're feeding into the panic. Because listen, guys, you know what else works? Soap and water. Soap and water works perfectly. Let's start washing our hands.
But see, now you're assuming I have soap.
Well, listen, I think you do.
Well, according to Josie, there is still soap left at the grocery store.
You got to wash your hands, 30 seconds? I don't think some people brush their teeth for 30 seconds.
You to sing songs now when you wash your hands.
Yeah, happy birthday you're supposed to sing.
Yeah.
But yeah, 30, that's ridiculous. 30 seconds. How much time do people have?
Listen, they got all the time in the world now. Now.
Jyoti's telling us 20 seconds. 20 seconds.
More than 20 seconds. That's
more than 20 seconds.
What's a song that you would sing for 20 seconds while you're washing your hands?
Oh, man. I don't think I know enough lines of a song to last me 20 seconds.
Listen, this is like I listen to the Jay Electronica track.
Yeah, I listen to hooks.
That's way more than 20 seconds.
No, but
Exhibit A?
Exhibit C. But if you're looking at what the recommendations of the government in Canada are now, what they're telling us to do is go into isolation. What that means now is, rather than monitoring symptoms, if you're coming outside from different places, if you're traveling, you're coming back to the country, government's now telling you isolate yourself for 14 days. You do not have to go in and get tested if you're worried about it, right? If you have symptoms, stay home.
Even this whole thing about tests, I'm like, well, if you have it, what's a test going to do? There's not a special treatment for it.
Yeah, it's just going to tell you if you have it or not.
They do have they do have therapies in place and symptom management in place in terms of the worst case scenario. But again, with how things are right now, a lot of the supply chain and just-in-time delivery models have messed up this whole thing. So Italy is one of the biggest countries when it comes to manufacturing those little nasal swab kits. Guess what's happening in Italy right now? They're the hub of this.
Yeah.
So manufacturing is completely cut off. So they're now trying to make a contingency plan to make sure we use the most resources to the people that need it right away. So that's how emergency management works on those principles, helping the people that need help right away and who can wait off for a little while. That's a basic principle that I think everybody needs to keep in mind going forward. If there's no symptoms present, don't go get tested. If you do have symptoms, again, you have to isolate yourself. Now, it's not a choice. You have to isolate yourself for 14 days. If you are symptomatic, call public health unit. And there's also, you can also go online on ontario.ca/coronavirus or call 1-866-797-000. And the reason why I'm saying that is because a lot of public health units are now getting inundated with questions. A lot of those frequently asked questions, you can get them addressed on ontario.ca/coronavirus. One of the places you can get valid information without spin, the WHO website, canada.gov.
And the WSO website, if you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was good.
Didn't one
good.
of you guys retweet how there's? they are telling us for safety reasons not to go to the Goodwater, right?
Yes.
Are they?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's out. That's part of public memory.
We got to protect our elders, man. Got to protect your elders.
My dad was down to go to the Goodwater like 2 days ago. I'm like, what are you doing?
No, it's
My dad has a routine every Sunday. I was like, Dad, chill. You know?
Happy New Year to all the Punjabis, the Sikh people out there, because it is technically a New Year now. So Happy New Year to the people that are celebrating that, even though it's not a great start to the year. But here we are.
I mean, it's also like, I think it's going to pass. I don't think it's going to be as bad as a lot of people think, but I don't think it's going to be as smooth sailing as a lot of people think.
Just to go back, do you guys feel like Canada could have done a better job preparing for it?
I don't know how you would.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's
right?
weird.
Like it's something that obviously it's shown that the whole world needs to do a better job when something like this is happening again, because we knew about it in January, right?
Yeah.
But in order to do a better job, I personally don't know how they could, but I know that there's smart people out there that could figure out actions and things to do when something like this is going to happen again, because it will happen again.
Yeah. So again, great point. What we can do, we have a very narrow window right now to make this stop in the best way possible, which is to break the cycle of infection. How do you break that? Every time you have a point of contact, whether it's your door handles, whether you're going in and out, be cognizant of the fact. Wash your hands as much as you can, or carry like a small container of like hand sanitizer and make sure.
Oh, is that what that is?
That's what it is.
Awesome. Hook it up,
so,
bro.
And also another thing with hand sanitizers, they have to be more than 70% alcohol in order to be effective.
Well, the WHO, I think, is straight 99%.
Oh, yeah? They went all
for
the way in.
sanitizer.
Oh, they got homemade stuff?
No, as far as the WHO
They got
recommendations
that moonshine,
is
the moonshine sanitizer in the back.
if there's more than 70% alcohol content, then it's effective, because there's some Bath and Body Works stuff that's like 10%.
Yeah,
So,
With the
So
glitter?
bueno.
yeah, it smells nice.
So was those like, that little note was being spread around about vodka being an appropriate sanitizer?
It's not.
That's not.
Actually, you know what? Mine was because you can make it at home, and you have to, but you have to use the 99. You have to use the 99%.
Oh, okay.
And you mix it with hydrogen peroxide, and you mix it with vegetable glycerin.
Have you done that already?
So I ordered the vegetable glycerin, but
snap.
I couldn't get alcohol and peroxide.
If you do
It wasn't allowed in your house, alcohol, or?
the active ingredient, the active ingredient is alcohol, and rubbing alcohol has the same active ingredient. That's essentially what it is. It's a rubbing alcohol mixed with some sort of skin conditioner, vitamin E, or whatever, glycerin in that case. So rubbing alcohol is as effective, and washing your hands is as effective. So this strain itself is based off the common flu, the norovirus. It's based off that physiology of that virus. So in order to stop it, it's droplet. So a lot of people are wearing masks and they're concerned about. You don't need a mask if you're not direct contact. If I'm going in the community, or if I'm at the hospital, if I'm working with a patient that is positive and I'm treating that patient, yes, I do need that PPE at that point in time.
Yeah.
Most people do not, unless I'm coughing a fit right now in front of everybody's face.
not covering your mouth, just straight up. Yeah.
Exactly.
You can't even cough no more, legitimately.
And coughing, that's another good point. You have to do it the right way, which is, you know,
Into
we
your
can't see
arm.
it, but if y'all seen it out there, you gotta duck it in there.
They call it a sleeve sneeze. I
That's
saw
right.
a poster
Yeah.
once at the hospital.
That's right. Sachin knows this thing.
Yeah.
Actually, Darsh, when you were in Asia, because you were there even before this even became a thing.
When it was popping off, I was in Thailand.
Okay.
He started it.
Oh,
And at the time, Thailand had the most amount of cases outside of China. And it was
Really?
20 cases.
Yeah.
And I think they're at 70 now. And it's been
Wow.
a month. But I don't know how well the testing is
because
there.
even Singapore got it pretty bad too.
Singapore
Yeah.
got it bad, but they were on it.
Yeah.
Vietnam's been on it.
Yes, Korea's one of the other places that's another hub in Asia right now.
It's just fascinating how
When I
now
was-
Italy's the hub though.
In Europe, yes, but in Asia now, it's Korea and the Philippines that are the brunt
yeah,
of
I
it.
did see the
Yeah.
Philippines.
And I
over
think it
here.
was Italy because the Belt and Road Initiative with China. I
Yeah.
think Italy was one of the major countries involved in that. So there was a lot of travel back and forth from those two countries.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because initially I was trying
The
to think
fashion
too,
industry.
why- yeah.
Yeah.
It's because they employ. Well, this is what I heard. It could be.
Yeah,
It
that's
could be
probably
fake news.
Yeah,
But it was they employ cheap Chinese labor.
yeah.
Using cheap Chinese fabrics, make it in Italy to get the Made in Italy label.
Oh, and is that the fast fashion that
That's-
we all wear? Or some of
Everything,
us
even
wear?
big fashion houses use this
Really?
the cheap stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Wow, that's crazy.
Like, it's like we were talking about before. When it first started, it seemed like it was to be localized to those countries.
It seemed like
and
that
then
too,
China
it
took
did.
quick action.
Yeah.
Well,
it did.
not a lot of people are. That's debatable. But when they did take action,
But they
it
built
was
that
swift.
hospital in like 8 days, right?
Yeah, we can't build a subway stop in 20 years.
Well, it's different when you have an authoritarian regime, though. And what they did is they did pure total lockdown, and they were disinfecting
Yeah.
full cities
There
and spraying.
There
which-
was videos of them, and I don't know how accurate this is because the internet's the internet. But there was videos of them welding the gates shut at condominiums and stuff like
and
that.
here we
right?
still have bars and partying going on.
Yeah.
People were out yesterday for St. Patrick's Day. I was appalled.
But it's still a lot less than before. Like even at the mall and stuff, we have a place in the mall, and it's 50% less traffic at the mall. It's a measurable difference. The roads, we drove here today. There's nobody on the roads.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Or else a Sunday, nice sunny day like this.
Even
there-
getting
yeah.
downtown, it's a breeze, man.
Yeah.
It's a breeze.
Yeah, maybe we should just keep it like this all the time.
Well, that's the one plus that I did sort of feel about this is the amount of times now that sanitizing your hands and washing your hands is just going to become human nature now for
Yeah.
a lot of people.
For a lot of people,
Yeah.
but then there's also that percentage of the population that is not even going to do it right now.
Yeah.
And then there's a percentage of the population that's going to do best practices and
Yeah.
then revert back to the way they were when this passes. And it's really weird because if this is really, there's no winning this. So if gets really bad, there's going to be a huge percentage of the population that the government should have done more. We should have done this. We should have done that.
Yeah.
And if it's not as bad as you think it's going to be, people are going to be like, oh, we overreacted. They shouldn't have
Yeah.
locked down. You can't win.
Well, evidence is showing right now that wherever it's hitting and these measures weren't taking place the right way, there's mass casualty. And the percentage of casualty now is like, for example, if you look at Italy, the way they're doing social isolation, we only see clips, right? And even in social media, they're going to share the happiest moment. Now, it's pretty grim out there, but they're on their balconies singing and
Singing
dancing.
Rihanna,
But they're
singing Katy Perry.
Yeah, but they're still in their balconies, guys. Like,
Yeah.
there's no food. Elective surgeries are now being canceled in Ontario.
They're
so
actually ticketing people now if you stand outside, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there are things that they're doing in order to prevent this from getting big. We now have to think this is a societal thing now. This is no longer a health thing. It's just how we operate fundamentally has to change as a society.
Yeah.
Do we care about these things happening rapidly and how quick they're spreading? And we now have to also consider economically how much profit do we have to keep and in terms of manufacturing at home for these sort of things. So for health and medicine, should Canada now start scratching their heads and think, hey, I think it's time we started making these things here at home rather than importing it from all
Yes.
other
100%.
Yes, and that's going to be one of the big changes. I think is companies that have what you call supply chain shock.
Yeah.
That are like, okay, well, we can't get this part now. It's going to stop production of our vehicles or etc.
Yeah.
Let's get it local. And then like, well, the local guy, we pulled the contract from him 6 years ago, so he doesn't make it anymore.
Yeah,
It's
So
crazy.
there's going to be actually a lot of major companies that are going to start keeping at least 10 10 to 20% of production of a product at home, just in case there's a supply chain shock. They've realized you can't put all your eggs in one basket. It's great that it's being made globally and it gets made in places that are cheaper. It should result in a cheaper product for the consumer, but you're going to need to have a certain percent of available local product. So if anything like this ever happens again, you don't just shut down.
Yeah, this just feels like a societal reset. I don't know, Darshan, what do you think?
Yeah, I was calling it, this is auto-correction. The environment gets a break.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You know, sometimes they do that. I know they did it in Thailand where there's a famous beach, Maya Beach, which was in the movie The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
And it's just been taken over by tourists. But what they've done is, I think for a year or 2 years now, just closed it. So you can't access that part. Just to give the coral a chance to to recover and so on. So it's almost like that's been one of the silver linings is, the pollution's clearing up here, or and so on. So it'll be interesting to see the environmental recovery from something like this. So I do feel these kind of things are essentially the norm going forward. Either this or the next, the big climate migration that's going to be happening in the next 5-10 years.
Yeah.
And
well, we're the disease, right? Like I was watching Matrix yesterday, and there's a line in there when he tells them that humanity is the disease. Yeah. And you know what? The more and more you look at it, it's getting harder to argue that we're not.
Yeah. It's super scary, man. But
COVID's scared of us.
COVID scared of us? No, I don't think so. It's running through us like anything.
COVID versus everybody.
Risking our parents' lives to be here.
Literally.
Well, my mom's in India, so
okay.
She's risking her life on her own. She didn't need me to help her.
So is she coming back or what?
No, she said no.
Okay.
I called her yesterday. It was a very firm no, because I think I have 3 other siblings, so I think I was the 4th phone call that she got. So she was very short with me.
So even if I do come back, she's probably not going to see you.
No, she didn't even hear the second part of my question. Number 1 was, Mom, are you coming back? And then number 2 was, where's the life insurance documents, just in case. And, yeah.
Wait, you're getting married this year, aren't you?
Yeah. Actually,
is the wedding coming up?
That's a problem too, because the wedding's in Las Vegas.
Oh, and that's a hub now.
I don't think so. And we're handing out cards, and a lot of people that were going to come are kind of like going, well, even when you hand them the card, they're acting like you already have something. They're like, leave the loved in the card outside. But I think we're going to get half of the people that were supposed to come. I called the hotel and asked them what's going to happen. I mean, if international air travel.
Yeah.
So what Hilton has done is they said even though it's considered a non-refundable event, they will refund it if it doesn't happen.
I think a lot of airlines are doing that
That's really
now.
good.
Everybody's kind of coming to pass that this is the thing I deal with.
I heard that, but then I heard Air Canada getting blasted online because apparently people were trying to get flights back and they were tripling, quadrupling the price.
Well, that's Air Canada for you, right? And then, I just read this right now on the news. It said that Bell is not going to charge you for internet overages at home. And I'm like, well, I guess at least Bell's doing the right thing for once, right?
For once, that's right.
Yeah, but then what happens to the people that have unlimited internet? Once again, if you go that extra step and pay more, you're the ones getting taken advantage of at the end, right?
That's it.
I'm going to call them right now and switch to the lowest grade of internet and just use it as much as I can.
You know what it is? A CRTC, they give you 300 gigs. Like if you do unlimited, regardless of which company you're with, after that, they follow you down.
Yeah, because they
300 gigs for a month?
it and then they slow it down,
I don't think you need more than that.
No.
You don't.
I got 15 gigs and I don't get through 15 gigs in a month.
Yeah.
15?
Yeah.
On your phone?
Yeah.
I have 10.
Is that too little? Or
No. On your phone, that's good. I think you meant at home.
Weren't you used to, when you were in Asia, getting like gig plans like per day? Like, wasn't that how it works? Like 10 gigs a day?
It depends. Like Vietnam for $10, you have unlimited.
Wow.
Other places like 10, 20 gigs, but it was like $10, $15.
Because even like in India, man, those plans are crazy.
Yeah, it's like $5 or $6 a month for unlimited phone internet, right?
Yeah. Their phone internet is faster than their Wi-Fi at places.
Yeah. I know a lot of my wife's cousins were actually doing everything off of their phone versus anything like inside
and then
house.
even you tether your phone to your laptop, it's a lot faster.
It's a heartline for them.
That's crazy.
We get taken advantage in the mobile sector in Canada, that's for sure.
Well, let's see what happens there. I think there's some conversation now that they want to get more players in here, but you know what? The big three have always clamp down on, this is our game. The Americans can't come here.
And the fact they mentioned Bell is not charging overages, I know Rogers and TELUS also follows suit as well. So it seems like they're all trying to help.
Yeah, but the most ridiculous thing I've heard throughout this whole thing is Whole Foods. So Jeff Bezos is the richest man in the world, and they've basically asked their employees that if they're sick or they need to take time off, that they can pool their sick days. They're nice enough.
Tim Hortons was asking people for sick notes.
Yeah, but instead of paying their employees, the richest man in the world is allowing his employees to share their sick days with each other.
You can donate your sick days.
Yeah, and meanwhile, what he makes from morning to lunch would probably pay everyone's salary for a year.
For sure. But that was like, there's more to the story. That was an old Whole Foods policy where they allowed employees to donate sick days to each other.
Oh, so before they got acquired.
Yeah, so that's been there.
Okay.
But they are offering, I think, 2 weeks paid to anyone who is
Are you
sick.
defending Jeff Bezos?
No, I like Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
that's
just
all
don't.
right.
I initially heard this and said, you know what? I'm boycotting Jeff.
I like the truth.
Yeah,
I like that.
but then yesterday I wanted to buy some things and I didn't want to go to the mall, so I used Amazon. And then I go, I'll boycott them after this
Of course.
when I'll go to the mall again. But for now, it's too convenient.
Okay.
Have
so-
you got it? I've noticed on Amazon, like the smallest thing. I wanted to get like an environmentally cleaning product.
Yeah.
And it says ships within 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's on Prime.
Yeah.
Oh,
So everything
wow.
is like
It's gone out.
Where's
yeah.
the workers, guys? That's something we have to figure out. Like in China, when it was really bad, they shut down the ports.
Yeah.
So they're on back order for at least 4 to 6 months, just on
And
just the
This
ports alone.
proves that we need robots in the workforce ASAP.
And basic
that
income.
was a leap you just took
But
there
isn't
with
there-
no sort of.
But isn't there robotic workers at the Amazon plant in Brampton? Like, I thought that's how it worked.
No, there's just people that look like robots.
They have names, my man.
Yeah,
They do.
because they do the same thing over and over, so it's just actually people.
yeah.
Okay, so speaking of that, I think that's a great segue to talk about panic buying. It sounds like Sachin,
yeah.
you were trying to do some panic buying at the mall, and clearly it didn't work, so you went to Amazon. But I know, like, it's been crazy. Like, I think ever since Wednesday, and again, I kind of like, I think about the Wednesday night news cycle. Also, Wednesday was my birthday, which kind of sucked because that's when
Happy
everything
belated,
was.
by the way.
Oh, you're
blowing up.
Pisces, eh?
Yeah.
So am I.
Thank you. But like, I'll always remember my birthday as a day COVID took over.
It's your
but
fault.
Trump had his state of emergency. The NBA shuts down because Rudy Gobert was not
touching
smart
mics.
and touching mics and touching people's heads.
But you got to give him credit because he instigated everything, the whole shutdown.
That's true too.
Yeah.
That's true too.
He might have saved us.
If
Yeah.
that never happened, I'm sure there'd be more games being played right now.
The
Yeah,
I'm
NBA
sure.
shutting down, I think it just was a domino effect from there.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, you definitely have a psychological impact of seeing like, oh, okay, so my world is changing. A lot of people, the sports is the norm. That's when they come home, they have Sports Center on, they're driving. They're
Dude,
hip
watching
about the
Sports
game.
Center right now is the saddest thing ever.
It is.
Like, it sucks.
They keep playing top 50 this.
Yeah.
Oh, I
But
know.
and then panic buying is, I panic bought some yesterday.
What'd you buy?
I was out getting a double, and I decided that I didn't have beer. So
Okay.
the funny part is I panic bought enough beer for a week, but then I drank it all last night.
That's the thing too. You know what's funny too? I was reading how people are trying to stock up on weed.
Yeah.
Right now they're gonna have a higher need for munchies or like snacks.
And they
Yeah.
never thought about that.
It's
It was
like
It's
you're
a
gonna
gateway drug
you're
to
gonna be at
munchies.
home,
Yeah.
and you're not gonna have enough food to feed
Yeah.
those cravings.
Well, and that's a smart way. That's an interesting way to look at it because when you're going to buy wine or beer in bulk and you just see it sitting on your counter
Then you just
and
start
you're
like,
sitting
yeah.
at home.
'Cause I only bought 12 because you have 1 or 2 a day, but then I ended up drinking them all. And the funny part is I was in the beer store and it was empty. So I get to the front counter and the guy that's working there, I'm like, well, I expected this to be full. The grocery stores are full. And he's like, nah, because no one's really going to buy beer. Like a lot of parties aren't going happening, and who's really going to buy beer to drink at home? And then I looked at him because he realized what he just said, and I was like, yeah, who would do that? Eh? And then
Oh, you left? You didn't even buy?
no, I bought it.
Okay, good.
But I was tapping my card as we were talking.
But actually, it's a great sort of other interesting factoid is the fact that toilet paper is sold out everywhere.
Okay.
Why is toilet paper the hottest item right now?
Because when people think norovirus, they think they're going to get the runs, but that's not the case.
Oh, okay, that's the reason why.
I heard it also started in Australia
Yeah, the toilet paper?
because when they started getting it, it kicked off there because there I think they import a lot of the toilet paper, so there was like a whole monkey see, monkey do kind of thing.
Okay, so they were just worried that supply was going to get low eventually, so they need to stock up.
because trees get the virus and then stop letting us cut them down.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
And I don't get, like, for some people are hoarding so much. It's only 2 weeks.
That's another.
I know.
This guy always has gems, man. Because look,
know he is.
The thing with
Sauga City Hustlers.
Yeah. The thing with hoarding is right now we just need to worry about the next 14 days.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm saying that is because after this whole thing kind of blows over, after this whole thing's kind of blown over, in this 14 days, if we don't contain it now, then you're live, my guy. Sorry.
Oh, I thought Jyoti wanted to chime in. Sorry.
But that's definitely something we have to keep in mind is when if we don't contain it the next 14 days, then we're in the thick of it. Then we're just symptom management at that point. Like this is
100%.
It's over. The hand sanitizing game, like you could do it to protect yourself, but then you're gonna know people that have it.
Yeah.
And then you have to just deal with that
You just
reality.
have to deal with the fact that your chances are going to be higher.
Yes.
That you're going to get it.
But things are going to change. And I've told Darshan assumed that humanity would end because of the environment. We just found a way to do it sooner.
Did any of you guys? You guys all remember SARS, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody you know affected by SARS?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I never had that.
I didn't know.
What about H1N1?
I did get the shot for H1N1.
I think I had a minor case of H1N1 back in university because it started flowing around when I was in undergrad. It started flowing around the campus. And I remember I got it very briefly.
Like what? It was like just a really.
It was like a flu that hit instantly. Like it was crazy. It was a mild case. Like they obviously at that time you had to self-isolate.
It's the strain, right? And that's something we have to keep in mind. Right now we're going hee hee ha hoo hoo because this strain is you're gonna have mild illness.
Yeah.
It's cute right now, but if it merges with something else, then we're like, ooh, what do we do now?
Exactly.
Right, and that's what I think public health is trying to instigate right now. And they're also kind of gesturing to us and saying, listen, the kind of rampant monitoring we're doing right now, we are not capable of sustaining this for a year. We don't have the workforce to sustain this for a year. We're now getting calls in different departments now saying, hey, you guys need to have a contingency plan. In best case scenario, who do we help? How do we help? Before those things are carried out, right now is the time to kind of think, okay, how do I keep myself safe? How do I keep my sanity okay? Because a lot of these bad decisions are being made by people that are, oh, I'm okay, I'm fine. They're just in denial mode. And that's what happened in Korea this last week. There's one person that was the reason why 1,000 people
super spreader.
They spread it, and that's the whole point of like
spreader.
I know
Is that patient 31?
I don't know.
No, but that's what they call. I remember it was actually my
it's actually
wife
a
told
medical
me.
term. It doesn't sound like it.
It was a patient. I think patient 31 and 32, and apparently what happened was this person was not practicing social distancing. They managed to infect 2 separate clutters of like 80 to 100 people.
Yeah.
And that's what really
What do they
kicks
do
right.
on
That was like a lawyer in New York. I think 50 people.
Yeah.
That he was linked to.
Because they're in denial. They don't want to like self-monitor. They're not cognizant of their symptoms, and they don't want to go through the public health measures. And you will pass it on to people that will have this effect. And it's not just COVID that's the issue. What now is going to happen is when the healthcare system is so like linear in the way of thinking, you have people with diabetes, asthma,
Heart disease
that need constant monitoring. But guess what? The health resources are going to be all pulled together to make sure COVID stops.
Yeah, so there's going to be people that will
on the sidelines, exactly, because of the lack of accessibility.
If you go back to the panic buying, it doesn't help that people are crowding around at these grocery stores, waiting in line.
Did you see the picture of the lineups in Chicago of all the Americans coming back?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So they're all coming back from some of them from hot zones, and they're like packed like sardines in the airport. Like, who thought that was a good idea?
Yeah.
Well, the one thing I wanted to mention too is I know a lot of people were tweeting out yesterday saying, sure, these big grocery chains are busy. Go and support your local ethnic grocery chain. They still have all the products. But then I heard the Asian Food Center was increasing prices on people today. That's crazy, man. Like, why?
And I know the guy that owns all those too.
Oh, do you? Okay, so we can call him right now and ask him why, or?
Oh no, I don't know him like that. But I could get his number.
Yeah.
Shoppers got accused of that. Did you see that on Blog TO? And then they had to retract it.
Yeah.
No, it was toilet paper, and they're like, look at this price on toilet paper.
But that was
like $14,
price.
but that's the regular price. Everyone just buys it at sale.
They don't realize that. It's not a cheap product, eh?
No.
Isn't there a toilet paper like production center like at Jane and Weston Royale or something right there?
Yeah.
We're pretty all right.
Yeah, it's a big warehouse too, right?
I was just curiously looking at if bidets
Yes.
are available, and on Amazon they're gone.
Oh, bidets too?
You just
Yeah,
need a
bidets.
McDonald's cup, man. Old school.
That's it.
McDonald's
Yeah.
Cup.
No,
Old
seriously.
school.
I was in Asia, man. It was luxurious. There was the hand bidet everywhere you went.
They have the bidets that have 2 passes and then soap, and then they dry it.
soap.
Whoa.
It's like going to a car wash, like Esso.
I heard the bidets can change your life. That's what I heard.
When I went to India this time around, it was terrific.
It's cleaner.
Terrific.
It's definitely cleaner.
The West is a very dirty place. Our hygiene practices suck.
The weirdest thing out of all this as well is yesterday, whoever watched Trump on TV, he said a line that kind of stuck with me when he goes, "We all know this originated from China, and when this is all over, we're going to find out how." So I don't know if he thinks it's something like he's reading too much into conspiracy
Well, and
theories here.
that's the issue with a statement like that is he's pointing the blame.
They're politicizing.
Yeah, they're
essentially.
totally politicizing the issue like it's their fault that it's
Yeah,
coming
And,
over
and
here.
China's turning around doing the same thing. Their chief of staffs for like external affairs is tweeting out saying things like, "Oh, America caused this." So
The
they're
U.S. Army.
and the U.S. Army causes. So if they're now politicizing something that's a public health issue, now we're going into territory of this is now insanity. Now,
I think Trump was just clapping back on that army.
Yeah.
I guess that
accusation.
might be it.
But isn't it crazy seeing the amount of like world leaders that are having this? Like we're talking off air about obviously Justin Trudeau's wife.
Yeah,
Sophie,
the Spanish
having
Prime
it.
Minister's wife.
Spanish Prime Minister's wife also has it.
And the Spanish vice president has it or something like that, isn't
The
it?
Iranian health minister, a lot of public health figures.
That would make me think if
Didn't
I
one
was
of
the
them
Spanish
pass away?
president.
What's the
somebody got the
from
health
Iran, I
minister.
think.
Yeah.
what was the rainforest assassin? Does he have it or not?
Yeah, the Brazilian guy? No, they say he doesn't have it, but like a lot of people in his
No, he
cabinet.
tested positive, and then they took another test. He tested negative.
Oh,
Well.
so he beat it quick.
Interesting because it takes 3 tests and nobody tests negative. No, like literally, there's nobody that's in quarantine that's negative. Like if
Really?
it's like TB, either it's dormant or it's live. So if you can either symptom management and see if the person's stable, like physiologically stable, that they're not in fever, they're not like respiratory distress, there's nothing like that going on, and that they're okay because there's no cure for this. You just develop immunity, and they're just suppressing your other pathogens, that your streps and other sort of bacteria that it's in your body. They're suppressing that, and they're making sure that your body has enough immunity to deal with this. And deal with that's the plan.
See, Ameek, you're smart. Now explain something to me because I've read about it. I have no idea what it means. Herd immunity, some people keep talking
In
about.
England,
What-
the approach they're taking.
What is that about?
So herd immunity is not something that I think is an approach that's based in evidence. That's based in there's some politicizing happening in England and Europe because what they've done now is they've done Brexit effectively.
Yeah.
So they were in the middle of restructuring how business is done in England. So not to save face, they're trying to come up with ways to sell this shiny bovine excrement. They're putting their Lysol on it, saying, "Hey, this is our approach to public health," and it has no merit in terms of actual science, how things are going. They're just gonna hope that people develop immunity by just getting it.
Okay.
They want 60% of the population to get it.
So are they
okay.
are they actively
want-
spreading it or just
No,
waiting for
what
it?
they're trying to do is they want the population to get it slowly
Got it. So it
over a
kinda
longer
works
period of
its way
time
through.
so that their
Got it.
hospitals don't get inundated.
So
Got it.
here's the thing.
It's like a scattered approach.
If you think hallway healthcare is bad in Canada, it's way worse in England right now. So they're already past capacity and they needed to invest in their healthcare infrastructure a long time ago. This sort of an event now tests their limits of their infrastructure. They're going to have a bad time if they don't figure this out ASAP. Canada has, like for example, Ontario has now the highest in terms of incidents with COVID. The reason why that is because we had people coming from different parts of the world and we were quite slow in terms of implementing the things that would need to be done. That didn't get implemented right away. But when
That's the Canadian way, nice and slow.
Nice and slow, but now they're moving very fast because now they're seeing the science in Italy. And a lot of the Italian researchers saying, listen, guys, this is not a joke. You guys need to figure this out ASAP if you want any semblance of control. because Canada is a very large landmass.
Yeah.
And the service delivery up north usually takes a while. So if you're large clusters like Toronto and the metropolis, GTA or the Golden Horseshoe, if they're having issues with food management and stuff like that, can you imagine up north?
Oh, up north, the shelves are already always empty.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the point.
You're like talking like the territories.
Yeah, or like where Indigenous people are living, they have empty shelves all the time because food's never. It's not a
The bottle of
priority.
water is like $8.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And that's a reality we have to deal with. So I think it's high time that we figure it out in a smart and a conscious way. Don't politicize it, because as much as we love to talk politics, I love to talk policies and politics, but this is one issue that I don't want politicized.
It's funny though, because you kind of got to when you got Mr. Ford saying
Yes, I know.
go on March break and da 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 da, and
That was questionable.
Rainforest Assassin saying it's a fantasy, and then he gets it a week later.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's Ford. Like, does anyone listen to what he says?
I'm listening to Christian.
Enough people do.
I'm listening to Christian.
But I was on Twitter, and there's like trumpets that are going on about how can a healthy person get it and pass it on, because they're really opposed to being told to stay home. It's like, oh, how dare you tell me to stay home?
Oh my God.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people that don't like being told what to do, right? I'm one of them, but I mean, if it's one of those where I can protect the people around me, I'm not really worried about myself.
Exactly.
But if I can protect the people around me that I'm dealing with and talking, then why wouldn't I do it, right?
Do you guys like the fact that Cadillac Fairview's closing malls from only open from 12 to 7?
I want to know what they're going to do.
Are those peak virus hours?
Yeah.
No, you know what?
Apparently it affects more at 7 and
send
9.
it
Well,
as
there
super
was at
spreader.
Sherway Gardens, the Fossil store had someone that was
Yeah,
tested
they closed
positive,
the
and they had
store
to
down.
close it down. Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
Interestingly enough, the virus is attacking fossils.
Yeah.
Ooh, we're doing Darshan's with it.
Oh
bro.
boy! As
He's
someone,
back, baby. He's
as
back.
someone who owns something inside a mall, I'm just wondering: is the mall gonna reduce the rent for the month?
So wait, what provisions are you taking with the pretzel shop?
Well, we do what we always do. We clean up, baby. You know?
Yeah, but
You know?
great point. Government of Canada now has
Pretzels come
they
with
have funding.
Roll of toilet paper
that's it.
if you buy two. No, I mean, in the food industry, you already are usually practicing a lot of these things anyway.
You are,
so
yeah.
you just want your employees to be a little more mindful. They're clean and their cleanliness I'm not worried about. I'm more worried about one of my employees getting sick.
Yeah.
So I'll shut it
could
down.
come from a customer, man.
Yeah, I'll shut it down tomorrow. But the thing is, the mall has been very poor at communicating that what they're going to do with the lease for the month and everything, because
So there's a stimulus package the government of Canada is doing for COVID-19. I think it's best now the province is asking for 250 million additional funds in order to deal with this. But again, business owners are concerned just like everybody else. They're making
sales were down 50%.
Shout out to Gershawn for listening live.
Yeah, Gershawn's listening. Apparently, my mom is listening. So shout out to my mom. Shout out to my brother.
Gershawn's our better half. He's actually the only good one out of all of us.
Listen, I bought Barfi for Raj. It's sitting in the other room. But he's not here.
I told you,
If Raj
Raj.
was listening live, he would be here in 10 minutes for that bar.
No, Raj's default is paranoia. So this is really messing with him.
Well, the funny thing about Gershon is when we had him on New Theory Radio, he was the only one of you guys to swear. Twice. So, yeah.
And he's the one that looks like he never would, right? Yeah.
We did kind of talk about this in the segment before about the impact that this COVID-19 pandemic that we're in is going to have on businesses. There's even financial pundits online or even on TV saying that Canada and the whole world is probably going to enter into a bit of a recession coming out of this. We'd love to get your thoughts. We got some business owners in the room. We got some obviously some people that are customers of different businesses. One thing I've kind of noticed on really quick is the amount of ads I've been seeing for these food delivery places where they're actually not including any fees for delivery or slashing delivery fees. It seems like everyone, especially from the service-based industry, is really stressed out. I managed to go see my barber yesterday, and he's limiting any clientele to people that he knows personally versus new clientele. It's getting a little crazy. I'd love to get some thoughts on that. And such as
it's funny you should say that, because I was going to get my beard done on Friday, and I specifically didn't go.
Oh, okay.
Because of this, I was like, you know what? Do I really want to go sit there with 20 other dudes waiting for my barber? So there's people that are altering their decisions on what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. It affects businesses' bottom line. Now, here's the problem as a business owner is there's certain costs that, if you're not selling a product, yes, I'm going to save on my purchases of the goods to make the product.
Yeah.
and on labor because I can have less people working. Now, what I'm not going to save on is fixed costs like lease and stuff like that. That's going to stay the same, right? So there are some businesses that are not going to make it. So it's very straight and simple. There's some businesses won't survive this.
Actually, Darsh, you lost some business because of South by, right?
I did, yeah. So I had a friend, South by Southwest in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
I have a buddy who is, his movie was picked to be one of the, I think, 10 main movies that get screened there. So he was like super excited. He's like, I'm getting a write up in, I think, the Hollywood Reporter.
Yeah.
It's
Who
like
was it?
It's a horror film. My buddy Max.
Okay,
Who used to be in Suits. He was a herald in season 1 of Suits.
Okay, yeah.
Nice.
So we're 2 degrees of separation from Meghan Markle right there.
There you
Anyways,
go. You're royalty.
anyhow, his movie was going to be screened there. We were going to do this cool viral campaign, print these like it's related to the movie, but and kind of canvas a city with these posters on cars. And he called me. He's like, "Dude, we got to cancel. Don't go to print yet. They've shut it all down."
Man.
And he was so like kind of down about it because you're like, "Yo,
of course,
you spend there's all these movies that millions of dollars have gone into them, and now what is the chance they're going to get bought or distributed later?" You know, unless Netflix who's just killing it right now.
Even with the amount of production, like movie productions that are now been put on hold, like Atlanta season 3 has been put on hold. Apparently, some of the Marvel movies have been put on hold.
Every Netflix production's on hold now.
Everybody's kind of thinking about what to do in terms of the gig economy, the service economy. They're kind of screwed right now.
Yeah,
that's it. That's basically, and anybody that has to hold any sort of like perishable goods, they're like pulling their teeth out because if this thing goes over, let's say 30 or 40 days. And there's no Cisco trucks or what's the other one? Gordon Food Services.
Yeah, GFS. Yeah.
If they're not coming through with the delivery and they're just doing essential services, you're sitting there and, you know, the fixed costs you talked about, the franchisee is holding those costs and they have to take that out.
Well,
so
even
if they have the holding power, they can. But if they don't, then it's going to be a bad day.
Even these giant conventions that are getting canceled.
Kevin Hart's coming to one apparently, right? I don't know if that's going to come through.
Was that a real estate one or something?
Yeah, some type of like real estate finance one. Is that still happening, you think? Or
no, they're shutting that down.
I feel like Kevin Hart will be like, nope, I'm not traveling.
Yeah. We actually had Gershon's bachelor party planned for Montreal. We were going to watch a Montreal Canadiens game, and we had the tickets because he's a Habs fan.
Yeah.
And we're not going anymore because the whole reason for going was to watch the Habs game.
Oh, man.
And we got 18 tickets somehow. Yeah. And we were all going, 18 of us, and that's...
I don't feel as bad, you know, contributing to a trash organization like that.
Neither do I.
Not going to be paying. Not going to be paying their staff.
Yeah.
But do you like the fact that a lot of sports teams have stepped up and now, like, you have athletes like Giannis, you have athletes like
It should have been a question. I don't think the athletes need to even put in.
The
owner should put in.
Yeah.
The guy who has... If the players are rich, the guy signing their checks is wealthy.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a question of whether you can pay your employees or not during a time like this. And the thing is, I hope people don't have a short memory and we remember the companies that did
Calgary
this.
Flames.
And then and speak with your wallet after.
Yeah, exactly. Well, did somebody on Twitter listed out all the sports teams that have not gone out and made any type of promise to their hourly employees regarding any type of fees that they're going to get during this time?
I mean, in Canada, still okay. We have our medical net per se, but you read stuff on Reddit and stuff about the thoughts on Americans' minds. It's ridiculous.
They're stocking up on guns, guys. It's a different beast
Seriously.
over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's a different beast.
I got my best friend out in New York. 'Cause his wife's from New York, so he went there early this week to visit her before all this stuff took place. He's now trying to come back, but he was telling me like the vibe in New York isn't the best right now.
His wife's out there?
Yeah.
Is he trying to come back because he doesn't like her? Or is he coming back for COVID?
No, he's trying to bring her back with him.
Oh, okay.
She's an aspiring Broadway actress out there. And,
for real?
And Broadway got shut down.
Yeah, Broadway got shut down, so I'm sure that's impacted her career directly. And he even told me just like being kind of self-isolating voluntarily in his apartment. It's like the vibe in New York is not the best right now.
No.
He's like, it's kind of scary.
All that lawyer's fault.
Yeah.
Well, I had a professor in university once, and I should have listened to a lot more of what he said, but I didn't go to class a lot. But I remember one time we were talking about distribution and supply chains and stuff like that, and it was a class called Economic Geography, I believe, at York. And he said something along the lines of humanity is, and I've brought this up to Darshan too, humanity is 7 days of no food away from reverting to barbarian, like back to the barbarian days. And I used to sit there and go, nah, what is he talking about? Then I seen the lineups trying to get toilet paper and stuff. I'm like, it really is true. If you have any type of situation where someone's comfort is even threatened a little bit, people switch.
Yeah.
This whole illusion of a society that we've created is very weak.
It is. But, I always remember, if you look at Canada as a whole and our history, and even like the South Asian diaspora, we're pretty resilient people when it comes to stuff like this. So I think cooler heads will prevail. The sense of community will come together. That's how we, as a social species, got through all the massive nastiness in life that we've dealt with. I think we'll pull through.
Especially if you're like a creative and you're an artist or a musician. Like tours are being canceled. I know a lot of nightclub promoters that have had to cancel their parties. I had to cancel a party that we were throwing next week because I just didn't feel right doing it. Like, it just seems that there's a lot of people that do this on the regular that are very dependent on this. Somebody I know also had tweeted out saying that for those individuals who are in a situation where their core business is being directly affected, use this time to figure out a more sustainable path for yourself so that, if this happens again, you're ready for it, because it is totally possible.
We need basic income. That's the only way around it. And people don't realize, they're like, well, where's all this money going to come from? The little bit stretch of basic income we had in Ontario showed us that the social programs, hospital visits, everything from those people declined drastically just based on the fact that they were getting basic income. So,
if people ate better, our hospital system would be...
Listen, if they're going...
There'd be so much relief right there.
If they're propping up the economy right now, but giving like a cash infusion stimulus just to make sure that when this, we go over this bump, there's enough capital there and it's moving around the right way, that people have enough, their pockets are lined, that their bare minimum costs are met. Why can't they just reverse that and give it to the people rather than going to their businesses? That makes no sense to me. Because guess what? People are actually going to end up getting the things that they want, and you're going to have
to spend it. They're not going to hoard the money.
Exactly, and that's what governments really want.
The best economic stimulation is to give money to the population, not to businesses. It doesn't trickle down.
No, it never.
It doesn't. You got guys like Jeff that we were talking about. Little Jeffy there is going to sit there and not pay his people and say, share sick days, guys.
Exactly.
Oh, you talking Bezos or what?
Yeah, I call him Jeffy now. He doesn't deserve a full last name. It is Jeffy.
What do you even think? What do you think the total salary of an arena staff is for a month? I don't think it's more than a couple $100,000 tops.
Like, you're talking about like someone that works like concessions or in general?
No, like collectively, I would say it's a part-time job. That does nothing. It won't even make a dent.
Especially if you work in one of these big market teams that like have a premium like price per ticket. Like the salary should be pretty comparable.
Yeah. It's just goodwill. It's like it's I don't know. It doesn't hurt.
How do people sleep at night?
What do you mean?
I don't know, man.
No, I'm saying like these big business owners.
Mattresses,
like, how do they sleep at night?
Like an Andy or what?
I don't think
Andy's too poor for these guys.
Yeah, they're on the same wavelength. I think in terms of what there's just a cost to them.
I think in many ways to get to that level, you have to be kind of a sociopath already.
Yeah,
you've already stepped on anyone and everyone to get there. So what's different now?
Well, that's one of the reasons why, even for like, I'm a big pro wrestling fan. So McMahon hasn't canceled WrestleMania as of today in Tampa Bay.
But is he going to have fans?
Well, that's the thing, is there's all these travel bans taking place. WrestleMania was expecting about 75,000 people to be there.
Wow.
Rumor has it the reason why he hasn't canceled it, because he's waiting for Tampa Bay to step in and cancel it so that he gets some type of insurance kickback and he doesn't lose as much money. Like, that's the thinking.
It's always about the money.
And McMahon's the type of, to Darshan's point, he is the type of individual, a type of leader that's gonna wait till the very end until someone says no, you can't do it, and he can just put the blame on somebody else.
No, these guys can't part with a penny, man.
It's crazy. And what sucks now about an event like WrestleMania too is there's other like events by other organizations that take place similar to like a South by or similar to an NBA All-Star Weekend.
Coachella's been postponed.
Like, you have all
the Euro 2020.
Everything.
Are you surprised that the Olympics haven't been pushed back yet?
I think that was Japan's bully move, because they're like, we are only going to host it for 2020. That's our contract obligation. So if the Olympic Committee wants to decide to postpone it, you guys figure out this
exact same situation then. Yeah. It's funny because, like, how many of these Olympic athletes do you think are still training right now?
No,
they could be, but
their livelihoods depend on it. If an Olympics is canceled, and you got to wait 4 more years.
Yeah, you might not be in the next one.
Yeah,
that's it.
Right? Especially if you're that person that just kind of snuck in, like the underdog story.
Or you're like 32 years old now, and apparently people expire at 35.
Yeah,
that's true.
Oh yeah, it's like you get to a certain age, even with myself, and people start talking to you different.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. I was telling Nav, I used to
help you across the street.
Yeah. No, That's not respect.
No,
I was telling Nav, I used to put selfies up on my Instagram account. I was going through my Instagram, going, how come I don't do this anymore? And I put the camera in selfie mode. I'm like, oh man, I have an old face now. So I can't put selfies no more,
Wait, but
right?
you still have that Ice Cube hair, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean, this is going to go too soon.
I don't see a receding hairline. Like it's
That's actually
fair.
That's actually a really nice hair. Like
Yeah,
hairstyle.
for my age, it's nice. But we have this thing in our family where we rapidly bald in the mid-40s.
Really?
Like we go from like looking half decent to old men.
You have like the skullet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if that ever happens, I'm gonna get the man hairpiece.
Yeah.
There's no. Hey, we
Do
can
it.
do
You
it.
gotta
yeah.
do what you
Was
gotta
that
do.
a toupee?
The LeBron?
Yeah.
The LeBron.
Oh, LeBron wears a toupee? No way.
Yeah, there's a video or something where
Yeah,
it
it's
came
like-
off.
it came off, yeah.
And
That's
Anthony
Really?
Davis is like, yo.
Your hair.
No, I got to see this
Yeah,
video.
yeah.
I got.
It's like a picture. Somebody took like a quick picture, and then you see like it's there. It's like a weave. It's
And
like,
LeBron's one of those guys that looks good bald.
Yeah.
You know what? And that's the thing too. I know we're kind of digressing a little bit, but if you're balding,
Just shave it off.
just say, there's so many guys I know that try to hang on to every strand.
Yeah.
it's the idea of
Or do
mortality.
what I do, just
right?
wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm gonna do. If I'm gonna
Yeah,
put a
right,
turban on. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah.
Going back to small businesses.
Oh yeah, we were talking about something.
we went woo. Laughed on that, but yeah.
What would if you're a small business that's obviously dependent on either foot traffic coming into your store or providing a service to, I don't know, some type of B2B product or whatever, what would be what would you do if you're, and Sachin, maybe this is a good question to ask you because you obviously are a part owner of a business.
Yeah.
Let's say Bradley City Center says, you know what, Sachin, we're closing down for 2
Yeah.
weeks. What kind of mindset would you have and how would you approach it?
At that point, it's you have questions. Then okay, you're closing for 2 weeks. Is it lease free for 2 weeks?
Okay.
And then number one, number two, what are my employees gonna do?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
at that point, I think. It's all part-time employees. They don't work a lot of hours, but I'd probably pay them anyways.
Yeah.
Especially if the lease is covered, right? Then at that point as well, the business stimulus. What is the government gonna do?
Exactly.
Yeah, you can top it
I
off.
think the way that they would actually help small business owners is to say, yeah, either what were your sales, and we'll give you that, your average sales, or we'll cover your expenses for those 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's the best way to help you out. I mean, the worst case scenario is that mall closes for 2 weeks and says your rent is still due. Now, at that point, you're out of pocket.
Yeah.
So then it's one of those things where you want to help your employees, but now it's like, well, I can't.
You gotta go survival mode and see. I gotta sustain this business.
Yeah.
So you gotta do what you gotta.
Yeah, and then you hope that when everything opens up again, that traffic automatically increases, but you're not even sure about that.
Yeah.
If they do close everything for 2 weeks, you're probably looking at a 2-month scenario where people still aren't really going to malls anymore.
Yeah. I think so. I think so. I think it's just a trickle down effect where people aren't going to have any money to go spend, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we're okay to the sense where we don't have a large overhead. We'll get through it. The people I'm worried about is stores that have a large overhead, large lease, large large footprint in the mall. Some stores are already suffering. There's a lot of stores in there that sell suits and stuff, and I talked to them. One guy sells sunglasses. I talked to him, and the internet's killed their business.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like, why would someone go into his sunglass store or the watch store and pay XYZ for a watch when the same watch is on Amazon for $50 less?
And something like this is just the nail in the coffin then.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Well, you're slowly seeing it in malls anyways. The decline of retail's already been happening.
Yeah.
So I think this is what's going to push a lot of stores over the edge. And what malls don't seem to realize right now with their lease packages and the amount they're charging per square foot is they're charging lease rates based on business from 5 years ago.
Yeah. That's
Malls
not the
don't
case
have
now.
that traffic
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
So people aren't making what you think they're making when they go to a store in a mall, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's literally break-even months.
There's a lot of bubbles that are bursting right now.
Yeah, 100%. Even the stock market, like people are getting hit on that, but the stock market was way overvalued.
Yeah.
The housing market is way overvalued. Don't even get me started on the housing market. Like that is
correction's coming, man.
Yeah.
That's it.
Being that I know you're very financially sort of astute when it comes to money, that seems to come up a lot on the podcast. I think that Sachin money episode is still something you guys are going to be doing, right? As a property owner like myself, should I be worried?
Not if you're not selling.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're not going to ever sell, if you're not selling anytime soon, the house could go up and down as much as you want.
Okay.
And
Right.
mortgage rates are going down, so maybe you can
Yeah,
capitalize
so
there.
you'll be good,
Yeah.
actually, right?
Yeah, there you
so,
go.
but the problem that you have now is the entrance into the property market is being blocked off.
Yeah.
Right? So these first-time buyers, like when I graduated university, I bought a 3-bedroom townhouse for $189 near Square One.
Wow.
And I remember when I graduated university,
What year was that?
early 2000s.
Yeah.
And within 3 years, all my friends had bought houses. That was the thing. Everyone graduated.
Yeah.
Then you had a party at their house because they got a job. Then you had a party because they bought a car. And then within 2 years, they bought a house or a condo or a townhome.
Yeah.
So you had all these people entering the property market
That's longer
and
the
then
case, yeah.
moving their way up. That's not occurring anymore. Like people cannot physically have enough money to get into the property market. So you're going to see huge problems. We're way overpriced. And a lot of people start saying, yeah, but England and New York is way more per square foot. We are not close to London or New York. We're not even close. Like we're not even a shred of those two cities, okay?
Yeah.
But we are more expensive than them, than London, based on the salaries.
Yes, that's what I was about to say.
Right.
That was the next point. If you look at how much the average income is in the Toronto area, it's less, way less than New York and London.
Yep.
So the property values have to drop. And there's a bunch of bubbles going on at the same time. And when they all pop, everyone's in for a world of hurt.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with all the pre-constructions.
Yeah. No, I agree. I actually know
they're already not selling in Barrie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We were up there. There's already like builders are giving away free this and free that.
I know there's a couple that popped up in Kitchener-Waterloo. A couple people in my network had bought some of those. I have some realtors in my network that are actively selling these as well.
Well, there was some homeowners that were trying to sue Mattamy because they dropped the prices on a development in Pickering.
Yeah.
And the Mattamy representative was like, well, I don't get it. Like, if the price had went up, were they going to come give us that money?
Yeah.
So if it went down, like now they're suing us? Because what? Property values always have to go up?
Exactly. It was just greed what it was, and you just have to suffer the consequences. I think it was too valued high. And even if you look at in terms of businesses now, instead of focusing on the consumer, they have government contracts they can like fight for, and there's only so many of them that they can fight for. But emergency management or government of Canada, Peel region, they would have certain tenders out that businesses can apply for that can meet in terms of the stimulus package, and those are going to be very tightly fought in terms of who applies and who gets them. But that's going to keep people over the hump.
Just on that, I know we're talking almost the negatives that have to do with small business owners and this time is taking place. What opportunities do you guys see with this? Are there any opportunities?
I think some business can realize, I better get into e-commerce.
Yeah.
Right?
Diversify, right?
Diversify. There's a
stock market. I think there's
stay out of
opportunity.
it.
No,
there's a lot of opportunity.
People made a lot of money shorting stocks this last couple of weeks. Now, I don't recommend you do that unless you know exactly what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. That's why I didn't try to go for that piece of pie. But there's people that made a lot of money doing that.
But people doing that are already pretty wealthy.
Yeah.
Are you guys still investing in crypto? Or I don't know.
Yeah. I still put in every now and again.
We're hodling.
Yeah. I bought one share of... what's that space? SPCE, the Virgin Airlines. I bought one share last week because on Wealthsimple.
I stopped looking.
It's $19. I was like, either I'm gonna go to McDonald's or I'm gonna buy one share of space, and I just bought a share of that. But the problem is there's opportunity in the stock market as well. Now, is it going to go down? Yes, but are some of the things at a good deal right now? So if your aim is that you want to put money in and wait 20, 25 years till you retire, that's the way to do stocks. You can't play the stock market.
I think for me, the biggest one that I think will be, from an interesting way, the most effective will be like a lot of these sharing services, like your Ubers, your Airbnbs. I think we put too much trust in being able to pay a stranger or be able to like be with a stranger in a different experience or go live in their house for temporarily because you want to save on hotels. And I think now that there's this concern around getting germs and like being affected, I don't know what the future is for a lot of these ride share.
You know what? Memory is very small for the humankind. So after SARS happened, guess what happened? We had another COVID.
We did.
So after COVID happens, guess what's going to happen? We're going to have
another
else.
one again.
So
we just got to. And the thing is, we don't do anything to get in front of these either.
No.
Yeah.
Because we're lazy people.
Airbnb is interesting because some people buy units only to rent out on Airbnb.
Some
Now
people-
they're sitting empty, so those may show up on the market for
Some
sale soon.
people are renting units and then using them as Airbnb. So they're paying the $2,000. That's actually one of the main reasons why they said the cost of rentals in Toronto went nuts.
Because
It's
people
you
were renting off of somebody else and posting it?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you were competing. You want to live there for $1,700 a month, and you're competing against a guy who knows he can bring in $4 or $5 grand Airbnb money. So he'll offer $2,200.
Dude, as a property owner, that's my biggest fear. Somebody profiting off of my place.
Hey, there's people I know personally, a gentleman who has 4 rental properties, and he's Airbnb-ing them and turning $2,000-$3,000 per property in his
Wow.
pocket, and he does not own them.
Crazy.
Yeah, there's ways to do it, but I think that bubble's gonna pop.
People that have money on hand right now, this is like a dream. These
Yeah,
kind
just
of things,
sit on your
these kind of
cash, man.
situations, like what happens is they're gonna buy up more stuff,
Exactly. And just ride it out.
and
until I
people
go
who don't
back up.
have it are. I was
They're
gonna say SOL.
Yeah.
Hey, don't plug our Sean
say
here,
it.
okay?
Don't plug
Yeah.
our shot.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was going to go for a commercial break, but Jyoti had to go run and do something else. So we can continue the conversation.
Yeah.
So we think that there's an opportunity for e-commerce. Any other opportunities? Do you think this is a...
I think it's an opportunity for people to get creative.
Yeah.
It gives time. What was the thing I read that Shakespeare wrote King Lear or something? I didn't.
Was it during like a sickness or something?
During
or-
something
Yeah.
where you have to hide out.
Yeah.
So who knows like what can come out of this creatively?
Maybe Nas is gonna have a fire album or something.
Ooh.
But here's another thing. I think
feel
it's
like you're going to get a lot of sick albums during this time period.
I think it's healthy. Oh boy, I
you, I
think it's a
appreciate
good
it.
opportunity to get to know your family
Yeah. Well,
and your loved ones, because
that's right.
how much do we sit together and talk?
Yeah.
You know what? Part of me is super, like, outside of all the craziness, I am somewhat excited with the fact that I felt like ever since the birth of my daughter back in November, I've just been go, go, go.
Yeah.
Now I feel good that, like, things are kind of falling off a little bit that I was focusing on, because now I can get grounded again.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know. Like, I look
spend
at,
that time.
Yeah.
You won't get 2 weeks to be with your family
like
again.
reset and reflect. Like, it's
Yeah.
almost like the attention of taking a vacation from work.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't fully allow yourself to take a vacation because you're already thinking about when you have to go back.
Yeah.
Now it's okay. I got work, but things are obviously happening that are affecting the day to day. Spend more time going home. Thank you all for practicing social distancing with me today. Actually, I think Jyoti Pandu, our producer, is the best at social distancing.
she's in a different room.
She's in a different room. We have glass in between us. She also said that nobody can be in the room with her while she's producing the show.
And just off the air, Sachin coughed one already. I touched my face already, so we're breaking
Yeah.
like protocol.
Man,
here.
I'm terrified.
I've had to cough this whole show, and I've been holding back on it because nowadays I'm like scared what's gonna happen.
I did that on. I went to check out Costco the other day.
You coughed?
And I don't know if I drank water. I choked on something, and then I'm like coughing like pretty bad. And then
Somebody's like, oh my
and
god.
there's like people everywhere.
But there was a video. Somebody got on an intercom and started coughing, and people were like looking around, like they were terrified.
Yeah, like you could clear aisle right now if you did that. That's a pretty good idea.
I feel like
people
am I
are
even
buying
allowed
toilet
to,
paper.
like, am I even allowed to laugh like openly? Like,
No.
I gotta laugh into my sleeve.
No, you can laugh if you like. There's symptoms. You can be a person. Darcy, like you can have emotions.
I don't know.
You know one thing
Could be
though,
a carrier, you don't know.
That's true.
I feel like anything you do in your whole entire life, someone's gonna get offended. So you might as well just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a good segue to the next topic I want to talk about. That's social distancing. Obviously, now I think when the state of emergency happened on Wednesday, Canada didn't really have a strong record. They were just saying, "Hey, avoid large crowds, 250 and more."
They did.
Yeah.
Initially, they did not because they're like, okay, well, we just monitor symptoms. Then monitor symptoms became self-isolation. Now it's like 14 days, no crowds. We're shutting it down. This is it, guys. This
They're
is
saying
it.
all events, just cancel them.
Yeah. Because once they had that local transmission happen in BC, and you saw the emotional state that the medical chief medical officer in BC, the state that she was in, saying, we have local transmission now. This is something we have to deal with this. Then it hit me as a healthcare professional, thinking, okay, guys, we're really in it now. Like
100%.
They're not paying us overtime or anything. We're just going in thinking like this is it. We're in the trenches now. We're in the trenches. We got to figure it out. And that's basically where we're at now. So,
and I think I mentioned this earlier, but even last night, being on Instagram, I saw people going out for St. Paddy's Day.
Yep.
I saw people actually still making fun of this. Like, people were drinking Coronas and being like, oh, like, we're doing our best to stay. And I was like, I remember looking at my wife being like, Okay, I think we've gone past the joking phase because I think you're obviously at risk if you're going to partake.
Yeah, and having said that, I mean, I did post a picture yesterday on Instagram of a empty toilet paper roll, because I was fresh out of toilet paper. People took it as a joke. It was actually a cry for help. I needed to know what to do. No one hit me up on it, but it's okay.
Oh my god!
People are going out still.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, I was at home with my beautiful wife, and her sister was out.
Yeah.
And she said it was empty. Like, a lot of places were not as full as they usually are. I mean, is it unfair to tell people to put their life on hold? But then you're going to come back home and you have old people at home and stuff. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's the best decision. And even, like, for example, just something related is I was watching TV last night, because when you're home, that's obviously the thing you're going to be doing when you're self-isolated. The UFC is still doing events. I watched an empty arena UFC fight, which was weird. The night before, WWE did SmackDown from their Performance Center.
That looked weird.
It was, you know what? It's funny because WWE in the past has done shows. Like, I remember once one of their arenas had a big snowstorm, so they had to bring everybody into like a sound studio, and it was kind of cool because it did like one-on-one interviews and all that, and it was like kind of neat. But I that show on Friday was pretty ambitious. It got good ratings, but they're doing it again tomorrow for 3 hours.
Well, it has to. There's nothing else to watch.
Like, but then you got to think about these fighters, these wrestlers, and the fact that they're in close proximity and they're fighting each other and
they're sweating.
Yeah. I've officially put my gym membership on hold.
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to talk to. Gym's got to be going empty right now.
Like, I'm part of one of these, one of these gyms that are very popular.
All that.
A chain.
Maybe start with an F and with a 45. But they actually came out with just a letter saying, here are the safety precautions that we're taking. But me and my wife were like, you know what? We're just going to put it on hold. Yeah. Like, no point in even risking it, regardless of the precautions. You know what the
sad part is? It's like, okay, you're whatever disinfectant you're using, right? If it doesn't have the active ingredient to take care of
What's the point?
Exactly.
What's the point?
Yeah. Well, then you're giving yourself now this false
sense of security.
That I'm okay. I'm disinfecting.
But then even us doing things like this. Like, you guys do a podcast every week, and then I think you guys were saying that, you know, like, you don't know if you're going to be doing it every week because...
No. And all 7 or 8 people that listen to us are pretty upset about it.
But no, you guys get more listens to that. Stop.
Well, they'll get through, I think.
We just had a comment. The guy deleted it, though. I don't know why. He was like, oh, this podcast is really underrated. We're like, yeah, for 2 years we've been doing it now. And it's still underrated. It still hasn't gained no traction.
Yeah.
Best new podcast right here.
And the funny part is when people sometimes will listen to our podcast and they're like, hey, do you guys write this stuff down? And I'm like, no, this is legit just us talking. Like, even when the camera goes off, that's usually what we're doing, is just talking.
Yeah. We don't have any idea what we're really going to talk about.
No, it's like kind of like it mimics our life pretty well. We have no idea what we're doing in life either.
It's crazy because I think we were touching on this earlier when it came to business owners, but I know, like, beat makers that are excited because they're just going to stay locked in their room, make beats, get in the lab. I know some artists that are going to use this time to write music. Like,
the guys coming up with memes are killing it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. A lot of TikTok dances.
The meme economy is doing very well.
Is it worth anything though? That's
it might be.
Find out.
You might start to see more of these influencer contracts.
I feel like you can't use killing it anymore as a word.
That's true. Yikes.
As a phrase.
Like a form of expression.
Buddy.
COVID's co-opted it.
Yeah, they're killing it. The crazy part about this now is that you have, Justin Trudeau's wife has COVID-19.
Yeah.
Like, so it's actually hitting people across all economic
stratas. Yeah.
If anything, it's hitting people that are like middle class and up because they're the ones that can travel.
And do things.
Someone who's not traveling who can't, I've been in my...
Well, that's the other thing too is obviously a lot of airlines are slashing their prices.
Delta did like 40% the other day. Air Canada is doing some stuff.
Except to come back.
Yeah.
If you're already out there and you want to come back home early, they didn't slash
But you
that
got
price.
these millennial travelers, because obviously millennials love their experiences, that are like booking tickets like, I'll take advantage of it.
We're going on the Cuba COVID trip.
Cuba though probably seems like a safe place to go.
No,
they have good medical system, man.
Is there any place in the world right now that hasn't been hit? Like as crazy?
Libya, I think.
Yeah.
My mom's village in India is clear as of
Guys,
yesterday.
okay, but they have declared like a situation there,
All right,
like, in
Ameek.
terms of.
But don't they got a treatment
I
already?
thought Ameek was gonna bring out a map for a second.
No, I do have a map, but I don't want to go with that like nerdy because then they'll just kill.
Just say it. Say it. Tell us all the cases all across the world. Do it.
Really? No,
Yes.
no, that's too much.
Newmarket Mirror, John Taylor tests negative. Oh, that's that's a
That's
relief.
nice, right? Whippy had its first case. We had 5 cases today, so it's creeping up.
You live
It's
out
creeping
there?
up. No, I don't.
Oh,
I don't.
okay.
Actually, Hamilton, a 3-month-year-old.
Yeah. And that's another
3-month-old
thing.
got it.
I've heard I think in Spain there's a few cases where people are under 50 years old and in critical condition.
Yep.
Wow.
So it's different strains, right? It's just this particular strain that's here in Canada, we might be okay, but it depends if there's a different strain that comes out that's more aggressive in terms of symptoms or more aggressive in terms of how it makes us go through this motions of things that we don't want to experience, sickness, right? And so we just have to be mindful. But to negate the conversation of travel, I think people are going to travel if, for example, life events happen. Like if somebody's going through a funeral right now,
Yeah.
right?
You have to.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do. If it's your
100%.
mom and
Yeah.
this is the final, you got to do it. But they're just tough decisions
You got to
people
do
have
it,
to
but then
make.
you may have some more funerals soon.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it also depends on how nice your mother was. Like,
That too. That too.
But it's very
is
similar
him
to
every
when was it Greece that was going through like their bankruptcy, and then all of a sudden
Yes.
Greece tickets were very cheap. Everyone started
Yes.
going to Greece.
Yeah.
Like
Lebanon's like that right now.
I think people are taking that type of approach where it's like, oh well, it's cheap to go to Japan, so I'm going to go to Japan. It's
yeah,
just
it's
like
a deal of a lifetime. Here's what I don't understand about this virus in general.
One-time deal.
The virus is a living organism, right?
No, it's not. It's not living until it goes into a host. Then
There
it
you
just
go.
replicates.
And then it's living, right?
Yeah.
So don't living things do whatever they can do to survive? So why does it kill the host? That's what I don't get about
They
cancer
don't though.
either.
They're not killing every host.
So
The virus wants to survive, and so apparently, like
the
there's
goal
been,
of the virus is to replicate. It's just to replicate as much as it can, right? It's just one of those. It's a strand of of mRNA, like it's just like a bootleg version of DNA that just wants to go and just attach itself. Like think of it this if you're
but it knows it must have some
idea
No, no.
of not to
evolutionary
kill the host,
awareness.
yeah.
If I kill the host, I'm not going to be able to replicate.
Well, if it was that smart, we wouldn't be in this case. Would we?
Well, it's not killing everybody.
We just
right?
need
It's
smart
only killing
viruses,
point.
is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Like
We
2%.
Yeah, we need smart viruses. That's all it is. Like cancer, I never understood because it kills the host. Why wouldn't it just chill with you? Like attach itself, have minimal side effects, and just
Yeah.
kind of hang out with you for the rest of its life.
Well, it kills the host because it
That's-
also gets
yeah.
fed constantly like
Yeah.
sugar and other crap.
Their programming is different. Some people are thinking of like, I want to help. Some people are just takers. Those guys are just moochers. They just mooch.
They don't have a
That's it.
long-term strategy.
They
is what you're
don't have a long-term strategy.
They don't mind. Maybe they're like connected. They're like, oh, don't worry, my bro's gonna get this other guy
Yeah.
next week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll carry on the legacy.
are any of you guys going to be going out anytime soon?
No.
Or are you guys going to probably after this stay pretty isolated?
I'm out now. I'm going to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
The work isn't canceled. None of my customers are closed. We're going to obviously take precautions. I work for a really, really terrific company, and they made sure that all of us know what we're dealing with. They have hand sanitizers available for all of us, gloves.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good.
They've said it's a privately owned, family-run company. They really do treat all the employees like family. So they're like, if anyone doesn't want to come in, totally understandable.
Yeah.
Right? So, but I have some things to do tomorrow. After that, I don't know what's happening.
Because there's some people I know that cannot stay at home. Like no matter what, they're like, I can't do it because they just they get bored.
You can still go. It's not like pandemonium, guys. You can still go outside if your street's empty. Go for a stroll.
6
Come
feet.
back
Just
in.
stay this
Not
6
even a
feet away
walk.
from everybody.
Go for a stroll. Those
Yeah.
are two different things. They are. You
are, you're
can
not right.
always tell who's out for a stroll and who's just walking.
Yeah.
But for me, the self-isolation for 14 days is a dream come true. At my age, like
If you're
Well, it's finally normalizing your behavior.
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's trendy. But you're doing something trendy for once.
Yeah, when I went to India in February, and I'm a little bit scared of planes, and I got on a 13-hour flight, and the way I made it is like, oh, hold on a second, so I can sit here for 13 hours and do nothing. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I sat there for 13 hours and did absolutely nothing.
Especially for someone that always flakes on plans. This is a dream come true.
This is me.
It's like, maybe I'll come out, and then, no, I'm good, man. I'm tired.
No, I don't even do a maybe. Ask Darsh. I do a for sure, and I add to the plan, and then the day of the plan, I cancel. I was going to cancel today, but I wanted to come see you guys.
That's nice.
If it was anything else me and Darsh were doing, I was canceling today.
You're the call up too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Raj was like in right until like the last hour, and then you got to see it coming.
So is Raj sick or is kid sick?
Raj's kid sick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's what we're going with. That's the official message from the offices of Raj.
Because I have a feeling that when he told Raj he couldn't swear, he was like, all right, I'm out. I can't control that.
Yeah.
Telling me not to swear is like telling me not to eat.
Yeah.
I bought Barfi again. I bought Barfi just for him.
He loves to eat, that guy.
Oh, man.
Although he's been doing good though. He's been on a good little health kick for the last 2 weeks now.
I thought you were about to say 2 hours.
So the one thing I wanted to ask you guys is, let's say next week, Canadian Health says, all right, guys, it's flattening. Start going back to normalcy. Like,
it's not going to happen in a week. It's going to take 14 days.
But like, do you see people, regardless of when it happens, do you see people right away just going hitting the bars, going like resuming back?
No,
like,
it's gonna be done in a. Then they have to deal with the clusters because we do have clusters, right? So if certain area is closed off, they haven't closed off transit, right? And they're saying you have to practice the social distancing, but transit for now is okay because it's considered essential service. But it's also to keep it top of mind that if whatever spread of infection happens in this week or so, it's gonna peak this week, right? If you have it, you don't have it, you're gonna find out.
Yeah, this week.
This is the week when you find out, like, okay, this is it. Am I paralyzed? Am I going in?
Yeah.
And then they're going to have a contingency plan. They're going to see how many resources we need to carry this out all the way. Is it going to be a month, 2 plan? Then we're going to have a better picture. But if in a week or so it's like this, everybody's just kind of like, I don't know what's happening. Then they're going to be like, okay, we're in the clear. We're in the clear.
Yeah.
But this is everything's moving parts.
Yeah.
Literally in a week, we went from watch your symptoms to possibly isolate to 14 days isolate. You come off the plane, you're isolating yourself.
Yeah.
So it's very fluid.
Yeah.
It's very fluid.
But is that 14 days for people who are sick too?
Everybody that's coming
Because
out.
14 days isn't enough. This thing lasts about 20 to a month.
Some people are saying it's 20 to a month, but right now, as per the best evidence from what Health Canada is saying, it's 14 days.
14
it could
days.
go up to 36. It possibly could be reduced. But right now, they're going with 14 based on what they're seeing in Italy.
Do you feel like Canada should close the border?
No.
No. I don't think that helps.
Essential services, we a lot of our, again, with the trade partners, U.S. is a huge trade partner. A lot of the goods and services and medications are coming from the States. A lot of our groceries, guys, is coming from the States. So
But what if closing borders just to tourists
Yeah.
well, the hard border
travelers.
close, I think
and leave it open for logistics and freight?
evidence shows that even if we do that, it's gonna you have to weigh in the psychological aspect of things closing. I go back to the Prime Minister's wife getting sick. That was like a big moment, I think, in social
That
media.
made everyone-
Then everyone was like, okay, guys, this is real. We're going through this. And people started panicking. It got better after they saw the Prime Minister come out and say, we will get through this. But it's a psychological thing as human beings that we just go through and thinking, okay, this is like the end times now. So we have to start thinking inwardly. And
For me,
express
it's when
outwardly.
hockey got
It's not the end times. Have you guys not been seeing the locusts
Yeah.
I don't know.
in Africa and
Yeah, they
Pakistan?
have locust swarms.
No.
They're eating
I
up
know
all the
that.
crop left, right, and
Really?
center.
We're seeing all the signs. We're just not paying attention right now.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody that's has the attitude around, you know what, I don't want this to affect my life. I want to keep doing my thing.
It's irresponsible.
Yeah, like do your thing, but be prepared then
Yeah.
that if you get it,
Yeah.
you might pass it on to someone you love and
that-
Be
regret it.
prepared to learn a lesson like Rudy Gobert.
Well, we were talking about it earlier, me and my cousin, not me and you, but that if you were to get this, when would you want to get it?
Yeah.
And I was like, probably in the beginning, because the hospitals haven't been inundated,
Well,
right? Like the people in the
newsflash,
middle
they
are in
have-
trouble.
Yeah.
newsflash, they have been inundated, but
Already?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah, we have somebody that has
Oh,
first-hand
man.
experience.
Yes, I'm telling you, no, they're inundated in the sense that they already are always working at a 97 to 100% capacity. You're adding new patients. They're having isolation. After a certain amount of healthcare providers get sick, they're gonna shut stuff down. They're gonna be like, listen, listen, this is like what they did in Italy, what they're doing in Spain. They're like, all right, it's solo dolo, rock it out until this whole wave figures it out. We don't want to get to that stage, but essentially that's what it's going to get into. If people are like, I don't want to worry about this, right now is the time to think about, okay, this is something that in our lifetime, it's as bad as the Spanish flu. So if they're comparing it to
100 million.
Right, if they're comparing it to that, and they've predicted models that 40 to 50% of people will possibly get it, right? They've predicted that.
40 to 70 even?
Well, they're going. I'll be conservative with the numbers because again, the way we think
every single day, like new cases.
No, in terms of the population,
like total, overall. Like once it's all said and done,
exposure is going to be there, but it's how the immunity is going to be there, how we coordinate things that help or don't help. Because again, there's secondary things that come out. I know we're in broadcasting and we're more inundated with health information and being a frontline worker. You're inundated with it because it's your job. But if we're not necessarily working with close contact, try accessing these media blitz twice a day.
Yeah.
That's what the recommendation is from Health Canada. That's a recommendation from WHO because now it's having a psychological effect on everybody's well-being. I can tense. Everybody's tensing up. Like, what are we going?
Especially if you're someone that has a mental health issue, right? Like anyone who's who is there's some people that have hardcore OCD. Like this is probably like skyrocketing. And what kind of resources are they going to be providing?
For sure, like
my anxiety's increased.
Yeah, it has.
Same here.
Kids in general are like quite anxious about climate.
Yeah,
already, and then you add like. I hear my nieces talking about coronavirus, and it's like, what is in their heads about what the heck in the world's going on? They're excited they got 3 weeks March break.
Yeah.
But they don't know why.
Let them be in that bliss because in a way, if that is also part of when this. Guys, we're going to get tired of this information after a week or so. It's like that depression's going to come. That's just how these things go. But
meditate.
Exactly. You have to find ways to relieve that stress in a positive way.
It's interesting.
You just have to.
Talking to my sister.
A lot of babies going to be born.
Yeah. There's going to be a coronavirus. Boom.
Yeah.
But even talking to my sister who has a 7 and a 2-year-old, like she was trying to find ways to explain it to her 7-year-old. And the way she explained it was like, hey, we need to stay inside because we don't want to get sick. And then if we get sick, we may not feel most of it, but like Bubba and Bibi might feel most of it, or Nani. Yeah, like putting into that context where it's like, okay, like you're not totally hiding it from them, but you're telling them in a way that they can probably understand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's probably the best way. And kids are pretty resilient, man. They're more resilient than we think.
And right now, as per the official line of the government, we're not going towards a shutdown. Okay, as per what the government of Ontario is saying, what our health minister is saying,
so?
We're not going to a shutdown. We're not.
Like, it's interesting when you see articles. Like, a really good one that I read was social distancing is on a snow day. I think you guys may have seen that.
Yes.
But then there's also like other like threads on Twitter, and Twitter's been my main source.
Everybody's been on Twitter, yeah, for sure.
About how like they think Canada is just gonna go as hardcore as what Italy did, just because they really want to prevent it.
Yes, I think at a point, if it gets to the point where they're seeing the stuff that worked, what didn't work, because if they're trying to contain this, if the measures taken by certain governments work, and that's how fast they got to point A to Z as quick as possible, they have a pathway to do that, they will implement it if they see fit. But if we are smarter based on what we've learned from China, Korea, Italy, Spain, if they're all in touch with each other, and if we're able to implement these things, if they do have an air flying ban, I think that would be essential to stop commercial flying if it's not necessary. Only goods and services are coming in. Then we have a better control of some sort of a possibility. Okay, this is a cluster. We can figure out what's happening in this cluster, as opposed to this cluster caused that cluster and that cluster. So there's a contingency plan. There's probability that comes in play. That's something we have to keep in mind. So if they're then those measures as probability controls, then that's a good way to think about it. If we're thinking, everything is shutting down, planes are shutting down, then you're processing it the wrong way. It's the same thing. I initially processed, the prime minister coming out saying, I have I possibly might have COVID, or Trump's, media was saying, he possibly might have COVID. Once the return came out and they're following guidelines saying, you have to do social isolation, they're trying to mirror the best practice. But that's not how we interpreted it as people. We saw oh no, this is something that's bad.
He's going into hiding. He's in trouble.
Yeah.
And that's when our worst instincts kicked in. So we need to come out of that and say, listen, trust public health, trust the guidelines that are out there. they've been through it the worst of it, and they're telling us, guys, this is what worked for us. We're telling you, please implement this now.
Yeah, and we're looking at it as like if Justin Trudeau's wife got it and he doesn't get it, it means he doesn't love her because he wasn't tight with her. He wasn't around her. He wasn't around her a lot. That's all I gotta say.
You're just practicing marital distance.
We're gonna take one last commercial break, and then when we come back,
we gotta talk about the album. Bro.
Let's talk about that Jay Electronica album. I think we've been going too much around COVID-19, and I think we all need a break. So we're gonna talk Jay Electronica's new album because I'm sure Darshan listened to it here on New Theory Radio on News Talk Sauga 960 AM. And we are back here on New Theory Radio on News Talk Sauga 960 AM. Jyoti, was that a complainer calling? Okay, good. I thought someone was complaining against the show. Oh, it was Jyoti's mom. Shout out to Jyoti's mom.
Your mom was complaining against the show? Oh.
No, she wasn't. Guys, that was a joke. Don't take it seriously.
New Theory Radio here on News Talk Sauga 960 AM, the show where we theorize on all things COVID-19 and Jay Electronica. And then joining me in studio.
That sounds like an album name.
Yeah.
You know, some type of music, mainly a rapper, is gonna drop some fire COVID-19.
Oh yeah,
rhymes.
he's gonna be like, you dead.
Did you guys see that?
COVID. That's what something like that.
Oh, boys.
Yeah.
Did you guys, that guy playing the Cardi B's little rant? And the dude's playing piano with it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, I already got a lot. He can say, I might shoot a music vid with my team. You dead, COVID-19.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I think
Jay Electronica
makes a double entendre.
Yeah.
It's like
Sachin.
COVID, like 2 videos. And
Oh yeah, like a COVID. Yeah.
There you go.
I get it.
there you go.
Yeah, is anybody gonna rock the COVID-19 jersey, you think?
That's extensive.
Donovan Mitchell is going to rock the
Donovan Mitchell.
COVID-19.
I thought you were going to say Donovan Bailey. I'm like, he's still around?
Oh man.
What do you think of the album?
We have 12 minutes left.
I'm just
Donovan
going.
Bailey has the album?
No.
So originally when I asked Ameek to join us on the show, it
That's
was
like betting me in, eh?
No.
I'm
But
kidding.
Ameek's actually a big hip hop head. He was supposed to go to Dreamville Fest, but he can't now because of COVID.
Well, they're rescheduling. Their press team reached out. They're like, hey, so you wanted to do this? We're trying to figure this out.
Yeah, press pass.
Listen, I'm trying, bro.
Good
I'm
for
trying
you,
to get
man.
over there, trying to make it happen.
When is that?
It's well, they've put it past August now, but let's see if they reach out to me and they're like, hey, shout out to Dreamville, shout out to J. Cole, shout out to the whole Dreamville team, man.
That's awesome. Man. I like that.
They're amazing. They're amazing people.
So Jay Electronica finally released his long-awaited 10-year album.
Yeah.
I honestly, for me, I think it's a collab album with Jay-Z because Jay-Z's on.
I think it's the Watch the Throne, conscious.
It seems like that.
I think Jay-Z made him do it.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
Jay-Z's just like what are you waiting on? But it's interesting to see someone like Jay Electronica release an album. Honestly, with so much mystique surrounding Jay Electronica, I think the fact that he released this album during this time kind of adds to it, where the world's falling apart, and he's like, all right, well, here's my album, peace out.
I think it was him and Madlib in high school that were like if you were into hip hop and kind of lyrical miracle type of rap, I call it lyrical miracle rap because everybody's like just looking, double entendres, he referenced this show and that, like you're just going heavy into it.
Do you remember like this? He's growing up. They used to like when they're like real hip hop. Just like, oh yeah, I'm a big Tupac fan, or like
everyone used to like Tupac.
They were like Desi's obsession with Tupac was crazy. But I think to your point with Jay Electronica, if you were like a real hip hop fan, Jay Electronica was like this guy that you really respected, and you're like, this guy's the future.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about Jay Electronica is, I think in 2009, 2010, he was big around the same time that J. Cole and Kendrick. But then he had his issues, disappeared. J. Cole and Kendrick kind of now have their moments.
They're the mainstream now.
Yeah.
Even Drake, they're all mainstream now.
And now JLX's back, releases this album, and it's a fire album, but man, it's getting quite the buzz. I mean, share with us.
It is. Well, I got a couple of tracks that, like, for me, the whole theme is like, it's sort of like, it's a lot of, pro-black, kind of Minister Farrakhan.
In the beginning.
A lot of sampling there, and then he kind of goes into this journey, like him and Jay-Z kind of going through this journey, like, okay, this is what black excellence looks like to us. This is how we're going to approach this, and it's very non-apologetic.
Yeah.
Some people have felt a way about this in the hip-hop community.
There's even talks of, like, Jay-Z, like, is he like a 5% Muslim? Because like
he is a 5%er for sure. He has that.
Because he references that a lot.
Oh, he has a whole chain and like.
What's a 5%er?
Well, it's an offshoot of Islam. Where they have numerology and they kind of have their own sort of creation theory surrounding how black people have their own understanding. Well, it's more diaspora understanding of.
Because even RZA's one too.
Yes,
right?
yes,
yeah, because RZA goes into it pretty deeply in the Mike Cement documentary. Like he talks about like how like knowledge is power and all that. Yeah.
It's sort of like their sort of spirituality. Like I want to say like. It's diaspora spirituality of like how they understand how they're the chosen people, like the whole narrative they've created for their creation stories, like, you know, we're the chosen people of Israel as per the Bible. So it's how to uplift them as opposed to take their history and make it in a way where we've always taken the worst of what we've gotten, we've made it the best thing. And that's what sort of Jay also talks about it in his words, saying, you know, you gave us food scrap, we made it soul food, and then he kind of goes off other tangents there. And Jay Electronica also talks about, you know, if it's coming from me, you know, it's so he's channeling those sort of narratives of, well, this is what great African American culture looks like right now. This is what Black excellence looks like, and in a sense where the whole narrative kind of goes of like it's sort of like he's going to war. Yeah, it's like a very militaristic sort of like getting ready to do something. I play it every day when I go to work because I'm like,
there's tracks called like Universal Soldier. There's like Flux Capacitor.
Yeah, that's the one I've heard. Universal Soldier.
And then even I think Sachin, when we had you on the show a couple months ago, did we talk about Jay-Z in the NFL?
Yes, we did.
Because Jay-Z talks about the NFL.
Yes, he has a line there. Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Pretty much saying that if he didn't do anything, no one else would have.
Right. And that's the whole narrative. The first title track that after the sampling is done, the Ghost of Soulja Slim. Yeah. Where he kind of goes off talking about those things. And you got to deal with me, and the whole idea of he has a line. This was so. It was so off top of mind when he said the line of no civilization is conquered from the outside. It just until it destroys itself from within. So it's like very now. Wow. It's very now. Yeah. This is what's happening right now. Like we're questioning these roles. Like, oh, is this supposed to happen? Are we supposed to help out? Is it me I'm taking care of, or everybody? Are we in this together? Yeah. So it's very like top of mind. Like, that's you're right. And if we look at our own history,
we're seeing the end stage of capitalism as we know it. I
don't.
It's not ending.
No, we are. What?
Yeah, but it's that sort of conversation that kind of made me think like, oh, he's right, because I personally take aspiration from like these concepts because our diaspora has kind of gone through these sort of motions.
They have,
and we kind of we resonate with those messages of pain and how to come out of that. And that, in essence, was this whole album was about. They're kind of coming out of that whole shell of, well, this is what our history was. This is what the future looks like, and it ends off at a very somber note. It's sort of the same. The last song on the album. It sort of mimics Adness from 444, where he's talking about his dad.
Even like it kind of reminds me of not Song Cry, but couple it's like Never Change on Blueprint 2.1. Yeah.
And there he's talking about, you know, having text numbers he can't text, and like he's a 50-year-old man, but technology is caught up with him. Like, this is how he's relating to his dead relatives or people that he can talk to. And it's like he's taking screen. It's very like now, man. For him,
Jay-Z at 50 years old is still the best rapper.
Yeah,
100%.
And it's funny that only in hip hop that seems to be a problem, right? Rock and roll, it's not.
Ageism in hip hop is so. We can do an entire show on that. But ageism in hip hop is so real because you got rappers that are Jay-Z's age that are on the like nostalgia tours, right? Yeah. And Jay-Z can still go. Actually,
Jadakiss put out an album too.
Yeah.
It was okay.
I haven't heard it fully. It was good. I like the Pusha T song.
Jada's always good.
Yeah, you like that one too?
No, I haven't.
No, you should.
But Jada's always. I've never heard a Jada album that I didn't like.
Yeah.
And having said that, I've never heard a Jada album that I loved.
Yeah.
But
it's right top of mind. Yeah.
Well, Kiss of Death was the best album. If you ask me.
Out of all his albums, I agree with you.
But yeah, I wish we could talk more about this album, but
that's fine.
We gotta wrap up. But Ameek, we'll do a theory on Jay Elect because I think we can talk about his entire career. This guy's been involved in a lot.
And you need distractions right now. So whatever makes you happy, that's the message I want to leave with people. If whatever makes you happy now,
dive
pursue
into
that. Whatever that subject matter is for you, whether it's anime, whether it's music, whether it's movies.
So you're not going to get these 2 weeks to spend time with your family and chill out, right?
That's probably, we'll do a quick roundtable. Being that we have this time of self-isolation, either obviously taking place after we all leave the studio, and thanks for risking your lives. I do appreciate the last 2 hours. What would you recommend how people should spend this next 2 weeks? And I'll start with Darshan.
I think quality time with the family is good. Some spring cleaning.
Yeah.
Read some books.
Yeah.
Watch Dark on Netflix. Best show ever made.
Really? Okay, I'm gonna
Incredible.
watch that.
What's it called?
Dark. It's a German show.
Oh, nice.
And watch it with the subtitles, not the dubbing.
Sachin, what about you?
Honestly, I say the same thing. Spend time with your family, spend time with your loved ones, take advantage of it. You're not going to have 2 weeks where all of you in the family are just going to be able to hang out like that. Don't do what I'm going to do. I'm just going to drink a bunch for 2 weeks and then, nah, I'm not going to do any of that. I ran out of my 2 weeks of beer yesterday.
Yeah, you did. I was going to say, like, your collection's running.
No, I'm
really
still
low.
working. I'm still doing my thing until I can't anymore.
Yeah.
But, just be safe.
Yeah. I mean, what about you, man?
All the podcasts I need to catch up on. The Yelling Degenerates Podcast. Great podcast. Listen if you're just thinking about stuff and like, just need something in the back. Then like, oh, what did he say there? What was that? Oh,
Yeah.
Boom. Then
It's
you
like
go back,
watching golf on a Sunday. Just leave it playing in the background.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if there's certain things that you've put off that you don't have the mental capacity to deal with them now. Appreciate the art, whatever that art form is. Talk to the people. Reach out to people. Don't text your exes. Don't text your exes.
Avoid
bro.
that.
Yeah.
Avoid meeting up with your exes.
Yeah.
Maybe learn a new skill for the post-COVID world.
Honestly, learn a new skill, and if you're a creator, keep creating.
Learn how to hunt.
Guys, thanks so much for joining us. Quick, how can people reach you, Ameek? How can people reach you? You're not on social media.
Well, I am, but I'm not.
Okay.
So you can see me, but you can't. It's
Listen
one
to
of
Big
those.
Talk each and every Saturday. He's Sauga 960's John Cena. Sachin, how can they reach out to you?
I don't like being reached out to. I'm serious.
How can they connect with you anyway?
People in the community.
Don't connect with me unless you know me.
All right. And then Darsh, what about you?
Yeah,
man?
connect with him.
At people of the community.
Yeah.
Awesome. If you want to connect with me, it's at Nav Nanwa on Instagram, at Nanwa on Twitter, at New Theory Radio across all platforms. Thank you so much for tuning in, and you will hear all of us hopefully next time. Peace.
Thank you.
Missed part of the show or the whole show? Go to saga960am.ca to find the podcast.